Hey, I'm Easy Schmidt, and today we're going to be talking about one of the most basic units of music in mathematical and theoretical terms, intervals. And before we get started with our video on intervals, I just want to say that last week's video on Children's Songs Go Baroque, I want to say that I thought that my delivery there was just awful. I sounded nervous, I made too many pauses in the wrong places. But part of that was because my parents were in the other room too at the time, and I didn't want them to hear me in case they were awake or to wake them up in case they were asleep. So I thought that was probably not the best time to make a video. So I sincerely apologize for the poor quality in last week's video. And speaking of last week, I want to say that today I've actually had an unusual opportunity to make another video on this day because my parents are actually not in the house right now. I have the house to myself, so I don't have to worry about them listening to me. So hopefully I won't sound as nervous, or my delivery will sound much better this time. And that's another thing I want to say about last time's video, posted a little less than a week ago, is that this is actually more frequent than I intend to post. Posting videos on a weekly basis is not my intentions, and I don't expect to even have enough time to post videos that often, because I'm a busy man, I'm still in college and everything. Anyways, sorry for the long, boring commentary. For those of you who don't know what intervals are, assuming a lot of you are like this because not everyone is musically literate or has an education in music, despite the fact that many people do listen to music. Intervals are the distance between two notes when played at the same time, either harmonically or melodically. I know those terms are probably very confusing for you if you don't know much about music, if you don't know the terms harmonic or melodic. But no worries. If I go and play these intervals on the piano, both harmonically and melodically, it'll make a lot more sense to you when I do that. So without further ado, let's get started. So now that we are at my piano, let's talk about intervals. Intervals, like I said earlier at my desk, are the distance between two notes when played harmonically or melodically. So harmonically is when two notes are played at the exact same time, and melodically is when they are played in a sequence individually. Kind of like that. And there are also different qualities to intervals. For example, let's say the chromatic scale. All the individual half steps played within an octave. Each of these notes make up an interval from the tonic note, which is C. Intervals have three different types of qualities. They are called perfect, consonant, and dissonant. Some people would argue that perfect and consonant are also kind of the same, as in like perfect intervals would also be considered consonant intervals because they sound pleasant. Like for example, let's take the octave is a perfect interval, or the fifth, or the fourth. These intervals have kind of like an open, hollow, in some cases dark sound to them. Like when played in like a minor key, harmonic fifths can have a dark, epic sound to them, like very Gregorian chant-like, as well as fourths too can as well. So yeah. And another quality that is common to know about intervals are consonant intervals. These are thirds and sixes. For example, thirds. If I play thirds all in a tonal sense within the scale, or diatonically, It makes kind of a pleasant sound, like you can, like it doesn't have any clashing sounds. Same with sixes, which are just an inversion of thirds. So yeah, consonant sounds are intervals that produce pleasant sounding noises when played in a tonal aspect. Of course not if you play it non-diatonically, like if you played major thirds all the way through. Sounds very strange and doesn't sound like it's going anywhere. Because the major third has a very major sound in it. It's the distance between the tonic and the third, for example, is 4 half steps apart, as opposed to the minor third, which is 3 half steps apart. Even though that didn't sound quite right. There we go. Same with the sixes, which is an inversion of the minor six, is an inversion of the major third. Likewise, the major six, let's see, is an inversion of the minor third. So there you have consonant sounds. And the third and last, should I say, quality of intervals is dissonance. Dissonant sounds, which are very unpleasant and clashy noises that don't sound very good to the ear, at least not at first. Well, I mean, later in life you might get used to it, though, if you're into jazz, though. Like how I did, though, because before, when I was much younger, I would hate the sound of a minor second, which is very dissonant. Now, it doesn't really bother me anymore. For example, a major second, you hear there's some kind of dissonance or like clash between those two notes, as opposed to if you played a minor second, which are a half step apart. Beautiful, isn't it? Gorgeous. Could listen to it all day. Anyways, likewise, the sevenths are also an inversion of seconds. For example, the major seventh is an inversion of a minor second. Same with the minor seventh being an inversion of the major second. So these produce very clashy sounds as well. And a third interval that also produces a very clashy sound is known as the tritone, or augmented fourth, or diminished fifth, or whatever you want to call it. It has so many different names. Or beautiful, isn't it? Back in the Middle Ages, it was also called the devil in music, El Diablo de Musica. Sorry. And the tritone was an inversion of itself, because if you played a tritone and move the bottom note up an octave, it's the exact same interval. And the reason why it's called a tritone, just to go back a bit, is because of the number of tones the two notes were apart from each other. For example, the half step is also called a semitone, as the whole step, or the major second, is called a whole tone. And a tritone is basically 3 whole tones. See, 1 whole tone, 2 whole tones, 3 whole tones, 3 tones apart. In fact, like, come to think about it, even though I've never actually heard this in terms before, but theoretically the major third, since it was two whole steps apart, could also be called a bitone, maybe, or double tone. Anyways, I don't know, but yeah, I suppose it could be called that. But those are your different intervals. Dissonant half steps. Consonant, consonant, perfect, perfect, dissonant, consonant, consonant, dissonant, dissonant, and perfect. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you all learned something about music theory from watching this. Yeah, I certainly hope you enjoyed it more so than I did, though, because intervals are already beyond my knowledge of music, as a music major myself in college. And I hope that I can be able to make more content for you, more enjoyable content especially. I hope I can make some more enjoyable content for you guys. And hopefully I can be able to post a more interesting video as soon as possible when I'm not so busy, and also when I have the house to myself again. But thank you so much anyways, and subscribe, leave a comment below, smash that like button too, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!